I never dreamed I'd be the one to break my daughter's leg. In my past life, I dreamed of two little snakes. My sister had scared me with snakes right before bed. I was so terrified I panicked, grabbed one, and threw it to the ground. The little snake's tail broke. My sister was staying over that night, and I watched helplessly as the other little snake escaped into her room. Later, I gave birth to a daughter with a limp. She was withdrawn from a young age, while my sister Amanda had a bright, lively son. She showed off her son constantly, never missing a chance to mock my daughter, implying I'd brought it on myself. Given a second chance, I returned to the day of that dream. Hey sis, it's been so muggy lately. The air's damp. You should probably sprinkle some bug repellent before bed. Things like rats and snakes, they love this kind of weather. Imagine something slithery crawling on you while you're asleep. How gross would that be? Weren't you always terrified of bugs as a kid? Amanda reminded me, all friendly like, holding a packet of snake repellent powder. I froze. I suppressed my excitement. In my past life, my sister had also shown up on this very day. We were both pregnant at the same time, and her husband was away on business. I didn't feel right leaving her, a pregnant woman, home alone. My husband and I talked it over, and he agreed to crash at a colleague's place for the night. I brought my sister over. We were both pregnant. We'd have plenty to talk about, and we could keep each other company. That evening, she casually yet intentionally had me watch a nature documentary with her. It just so happened to be about snakes hunting. I've been scared of bugs my whole life, let alone snakes. Watching it, I got goosebumps all over. Before bed, my sister brought out the snake repellent powder and reminded me to sprinkle it around. I didn't think much of it at the time, but even with the powder sprinkled around my room, I still felt uneasy. Sure enough, that night, I dreamed of two little snakes. A little yellow one and a little pink one. They were coiled on my wrists, one on each, and I screamed in terror. I couldn't stop myself from grabbing the pink snake and slamming it down hard. The little snake lay on the floor, motionless for a long time. The other one, the little yellow snake, must have been scared. It scurried frantically into the room across from mine. That was the guest room, where my sister was. The next morning, I woke up with a stomach ache and went to the hospital. From then on, my pregnancy was unstable. I was in and out of the hospital constantly. Then, late in my pregnancy, a checkup suddenly revealed the baby's foot was tangled in the umbilical cord. There was no way to untangle it. I finally managed to give birth to a baby girl. But the doctor said she was born with a clubfoot and would never be able to run and jump like other kids. It was the opposite for my sister. Her pregnancy was smooth sailing, and she had a healthy, adorable baby boy. He was reciting nursery rhymes by heart at a very young age. My daughter, because of her limp, was withdrawn from a young age. She didn't talk much, and kids her age didn't want to play with her. Luckily, my little nephew was very attached to me and my daughter. He loved playing with his cousin. My sister often laughed at me. Life's funny, isn't it? Never thought you'd have a disabled kid, sis. She wasn't happy about her son being so close to us, so she signed him up for a ton of extra classes. It hurt me deeply when she said things like that. But it was the truth. When we saw him again later, the boy had indeed grown distant. But he still looked out for his cousin, always carrying her favorite candy for her. I always blamed myself for not noticing the baby's problems during my pregnancy. That's why she was born different. Until one day, my daughter was snuggled in my arms and suddenly started crying. I quickly asked her what was wrong. My daughter sobbed, "Mommy's mean. Baby and brother came to find mommy. Mommy threw baby on the floor." She cried her heart out. I suddenly remembered the little pink snake whose tail I'd broken that night. Though I never believed in gods or spirits, I asked a friend for a recommendation. I found a highly respected fortune teller to see me. You have a face that says you're destined for both a son and a daughter. Strange. Very strange. The old man looked grave but couldn't figure out anything more. Meanwhile, my nephew, being so smart from a young age, caught the media's attention. He became a famous child prodigy. My sister's family bought a house and moved to the city because of him. I took my daughter everywhere seeking medical help, battling depression. I regretted breaking that little pink snake's tail countless times. Then, one day I woke up. and I was back on the day I dreamed of the snakes. Looking at my sister's seemingly kind face, I took a breath and, feigning disgust, said, "Ugh, hurry up and sprinkle it then. That's so gross." I took the snake repellent powder and, just as she wanted, sprinkled it around my room. But just as I was about to sprinkle it around the guest room too, my sister stopped my hand. I looked at her, confused. She said casually, "I can't stand that weird smell. Besides, our rooms are so close, we don't need it in here." "Okay then." I dropped it, said goodnight to her, and closed my door. But I didn't go to bed right away. About half an hour later, when it was quiet next door, I tiptoed over and placed a few snake fruits around the guest room. Staring at the closed guest room door, I gritted my teeth. "Good sister, let's just see what you give birth to this time." I placed my hands flat on my stomach. My sister always thought my babies were little snakes. In my past life, I'd replayed the memory countless times, almost masochistically, searing the image of my babies into my mind. Their foreheads had slight protrusions. They clearly weren't snakes. How could mere snake repellent stop them from coming to their mother? Feeling my slightly swollen belly, a tear rolled down my cheek. I gently closed my eyes. I don't know how much time passed, but then I felt a coolness on my wrists. I opened my eyes. And there it was, the scene I'd replayed in my mind countless times from my past life. One pink, one yellow on my wrists, like two cool, translucent jade bracelets. They coiled around me, gentle and affectionate. Looking closely, their tiny claws were curled under their bellies. At first glance, they really did look like little snakes. I was so overcome with emotion I couldn't speak. I could only gently kiss the foreheads of my little pink and yellow ones. "This time, Mommy will never hurt you." The next day, my sister, pale-faced, knocked on my door. She looked frantic. "Sis, did you dream anything last night?" My heart skipped a beat. I clutched my chest, pretending to be terrified too. "Last night? I dreamed of two snakes. It scared me to death." "And then what?" she pressed. "Why are you so interested in my dream?" I didn't answer immediately, asking a question back. Amanda's face stiffened. Then she forced a laugh. "I'm just curious." Even so, she didn't give up, grabbing me and asking again, "And then what?" I gave a cold smile. "Then, didn't I sprinkle repellent at my door? They went into your room." I wasn't lying to her. In my dream last night, a little black snake had indeed slipped under the guest room door. I paused, looking at Amanda's face with feigned worry. "But sis, I heard dreaming of snakes during pregnancy has some meaning. Will chasing them away affect my baby?" Hearing me say the snakes went into her room, my sister couldn't hide her delight. She feigned comfort. "It's okay, it was just a dream." Having gotten her answer, she patted her stomach and started to leave. "Your brother-in-law is coming back today. I'm going home to cook for him." I didn't stop her. What that little black snake was, we'd find out in 6 months. After that, my sister mostly avoided me. She didn't want any contact with me. I was fine with that. I couldn't pretend to be good sisters with someone who had stolen my child. This time it was my prenatal checkups that went smoothly. I even got the good news that I was having twins. I was cautious. I didn't tell anyone except my husband and my mom. But I didn't expect that the very next day, my sister would show up at my door, her belly large. Her face was grim, and the first thing she asked was, "You're having twins?" My heart sank. I silently cursed my mom for not being able to keep her mouth shut. My husband wouldn't have gone to my sister to show off. It had to be my mom. I'd warned her 1,000 times. Absolutely not to tell anyone. And she turned right around and told my sister. In my past life, when I took my daughter everywhere for medical treatment, only my mom cared about her condition. She even helped me find specialists and helped me apply medicine for the baby. This life, the babies were fine. I was so happy. I couldn't help but tell my mom. Facing Amanda's question, it wasn't that I was deliberately trying to hide it from her. Mainly, as long as the babies weren't born, I couldn't rest easy. Who knew what tricks she might pull? I patted my belly. "Yes, sis. I went to a fortune teller. They said I'm destined to have both a son and a daughter this life. So if this isn't twins, what else could it be?" Amanda was clearly taken aback by my confidence. You went to a fortune teller? And you believed them when they said twins? She looked at me as if I were an idiot. She let out a huge sigh of relief. Holding her round belly, she rolled her eyes. What a waste of effort. Me coming all this way. Anyone can say it's twins. I could say this one in my belly is a genius sent from heaven. I nodded in agreement. What kind of monster you've got in your belly? We'll find out when it's born. Yeah, no big deal. Coming all this way while pregnant just to ask me. Amanda looked a little guilty, her eyes darting around, clearly trying to think of what to say. But the next second, her brow furrowed, and clutching her stomach, she cried out in pain. I jumped. If something was wrong, it better not happen in my house. I didn't want any bad luck. I was about to frantically call 911, but Amanda stopped me. Going to the hospital costs so much money. My baby is a heaven-sent genius. He's tough. She panted, catching her breath. She insisted on calling my brother-in-law to take her home. My heart was beating a little fast. Even though my babies were safe this time around, I still felt a strange sense of unease. Amanda was tugging at my sleeve, not letting go. Her lips were turning a little purple from the pain. I don't know if it was contagious, but seeing her in such a state, my own stomach actually started to ache faintly. Sis, I'm pregnant too. Let go of me. I tugged at my sleeve. I couldn't pull it free. Amanda wouldn't let go. No, you have to wait until your brother-in-law comes to get me. I can't afford any slip-ups. During the struggle, the cramping in my stomach became more intense. I even felt a warm trickle running down my leg. My due date was still half a month away. My water had broken early. Fortunately, this was normal. The doctor had said twins could arrive early. I was actually planning to pack and move to the hospital in the next couple of days anyway. I just didn't expect to encounter Amanda, this harbinger of doom, first. My ears felt hot. I was furious at her shamelessness. I couldn't hold back and started yelling. Amanda, are you crazy? If you're having problems, don't drag me into it. Let me go. Luckily, I was wearing a loose jacket. Since I couldn't pull free, I just slipped out of the jacket and let her have it. Then I called 911 for myself. And I called my husband. I'm going into labor. Amanda tried to grab me again, but she winced in pain as soon as she moved. She seemed more concerned about me than herself. Her husband and the ambulance arrived at the same time. Seeing me being carried onto the ambulance, she, who had insisted on going home, suddenly changed her mind. No, I'm going to the hospital too. I think I'm going into labor too. Unfortunately, by the time I was wheeled into the observation room, her water still hadn't broken. The doctor wanted her to have an examination, but Amanda just started yelling, "Examine what? These tests are just a ripoff. Don't I know my own body? I'm about to give birth. You incompetent doctors." She strongly demanded to give birth at the same time as me. They couldn't argue with her. So Amanda also ended up in the observation room. I was gasping from the pain. I saw Amanda lying next to me, her eyes darting around. "Sis, after you give birth, remember to bring the baby over for me to see, okay?" I was only 2 centimeters dilated at that point. Hearing her bizarre request, I couldn't help but laugh sarcastically. Even now, you can't just stop? Unfortunately, Amanda didn't look like she was in much pain at all, but her water just wouldn't break. Isn't that strange? Bring the baby for her to see? Not in this lifetime. I just turned my head away, not wanting to look at her anymore. Just then, I saw my mom come in with chicken soup. My heart lifted. I was already feeling a bit weak, but I knew childbirth took a lot of energy. Some chicken soup would give me strength. Mom was so thoughtful. I struggled to pull out my pillow to make it easier to drink the soup. Then I saw my mom walk right past me. She thoughtfully pulled out a pillow and propped it behind Amanda's back. "Amanda, dear, have some chicken soup." She ladled a full bowl of chicken soup for Amanda. Only the shallow dregs at the bottom of the pot were left for me. "Chloe, you have some too." My mom had always been like this, favoring Amanda more. It wasn't that she didn't love me. It's just that in comparison, my husband and I didn't have parents-in-law to answer to. We just had to manage our own little lives. Amanda, who had a mother-in-law bossing her around, had it tougher. I bit my lip, feeling a bit petulant and wanting to refuse. But even if I didn't drink it, my mom wouldn't notice me right now. She was by Amanda's side, patiently telling her about what to expect during labor. My husband hadn't arrived yet. My water had broken so suddenly. I hadn't even brought the ginseng slices I'd prepared. I could only suppress the bitterness and force myself to drink the dregs of the soup until I was wheeled into the delivery room. My mom hadn't even bothered to speak to me. I got through the worst of the pain. I gritted my teeth. The chicken soup I'd just drunk was already used up. Just when I felt like I was about to lose all strength, a warm hand enveloped mine. Then a slice of ginseng was slipped into my mouth. A reassuring voice came from beside me. "Honey, hang in there." My spirit lifted. I just felt something leave my body. Then I heard a baby cry. "It's twins." My husband's voice was filled with unconcealable joy. I finally breathed a sigh of relief and let myself drift into unconsciousness. What surprised me was, when I woke up, my husband told me Amanda still hadn't given birth. The doctors were trying to persuade her to have a prenatal checkup. Speaking of which, my husband was also puzzled. Amanda, what are they thinking? She's pregnant and about to give birth, and she hasn't had a single prenatal checkup? Don't call her sis. Now that everything was settled, I looked at my son and daughter sleeping sweetly in their cradles, all their limbs intact. My heart felt completely full. The secret I'd hidden in my heart for nearly 6 months. I finally couldn't help but tell my husband everything. But I only said I'd had a dream. After all, none of it had actually happened yet. My husband didn't take it seriously. He just comforted me. "Honey, it was just a dream. Let's try to avoid your sister's side for a while. I've heard that hormonal changes during pregnancy can make it hard to control your emotions. You'll be fine after your postpartum recovery." He thought. All of this was just hallucinations caused by my pregnancy hormones. Come on, it's the 21st century. It's just a dream. But I wanted to say no, it wasn't. What I experienced in my past life was so real. How could it be a dream? But my husband was right about one thing. Everything I'd experienced hadn't happened yet in this life. It could only be explained as a dream. In this life, I hadn't lost anything yet. We live in a society governed by law. The only thing I could do was watch Amanda reap what she sowed, and keep my children far away from her. Afraid of any more mishaps, I requested that before I was discharged, the babies had to be under my watch at all times. My husband thought I was being too sensitive. Keeping them in the hospital room will affect your rest. But I insisted, and he agreed. He could only make me more nutritious soups to help me recover, hoping I could be discharged and go home sooner. On the 3rd day after I gave birth, Amanda finally gave birth too. During that time, my mom didn't visit me once. Her reason was that my sister needed more care. Her baby was congenitally weak and needed to be observed in an incubator for a while. Hearing this news, I happily drank an extra bowl of soup. Another day or two of observation, and I'd be able to go home. In this life, I had no other wish than to see my son and daughter grow up healthy and safe. But this good mood lasted only until the day of my discharge, when my mom came to the hospital room, and it all came to an abrupt halt. During these few days in the hospital, apart from feeding the babies, I spent most of my time in a daze sleeping. After feeding the babies, drowsiness would overcome me. My husband had gone to handle the discharge paperwork. I decided to take another short nap. In my drowsiness, I heard the door open. I thought it was my husband. I squinted my eyes, glanced casually, and planned to go back to sleep. But when my brain processed what I'd just seen, my blood ran cold in an instant. "Mom, what are you doing?" If I wasn't mistaken, my mom was holding a swaddled baby, and it looked like she was trying to swap my baby. The baby in her arms had wrinkled, darkish skin, and was breathing faintly. If you weren't paying close attention, you might not even see its chest rise and fall. My mom was caught. She paused for a moment, her expression complicated. "Chloe, tell Mom the truth. In your dream that night, did you really see snakes go into your sister's room?" My mom's words hit me like a bombshell. The dream, that pregnancy dream, She had known all along. My head buzzed. A rush of anger surged from my chest to my head. All sleepiness vanished. My voice trembled slightly. Mom, what do you mean? In my past life, if it weren't for my mom's help, I don't know if I could have persevered. My husband was rather oblivious. Plus, he was busy with work. Taking the child to doctors was almost entirely my responsibility. Countless times, I was on the verge of breaking down. Everyone around me advised me to give up, to make other plans, to have another child. Only my mom didn't try to persuade me. She helped me find well-known specialists and looked for folk remedies. I always thought my mom pitted me, pitted her granddaughter. Even after learning the origin of the pregnancy dream, I subconsciously didn't want to delve deeper. Why didn't I know? But Amanda did? Until the naked truth was laid out before me. Unavoidable. In my past life, my mom suddenly started being nice to me. Now there was a reason for it. It was guilt. Guilt for what should have been mine, taken by my sister. So she compensated. That's why she suddenly paid more attention to me than to Amanda. My mom saw me stunned. She sighed. She didn't expect me to answer. She continued on her own. Before your sister got pregnant, Mom had someone do a reading. This baby of hers would be difficult to raise. Your son and daughter both have fortunate destinies. So I deliberately didn't tell you the importance of the pregnancy dream. The child your sister bore is congenitally weak. I thought your circumstances are better, more suitable for this child. You're both my daughters. Mom will make the decision. You can swap and raise them for a while. When the children are 1 or 2, you can swap them back. I couldn't imagine the mother I had always trusted saying such things. I could no longer deceive myself. So she knew everything all along. I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. Mom, if you stop now, I'll still acknowledge you as my mother. Consider it repaying the kindness from my past life. But my mom didn't understand the implication of my words. Perhaps because no one had left for a while. Amanda snuck in. Mom, what's taking you so long? Seeing Amanda, the anger I'd been holding back for so long, erupted all at once. I mocked Amanda sarcastically. Look at your daughter. She's practically dying. And you're still causing trouble here. I don't think you were destined to be a mother. The baby in my mom's arms looked like it was breathing out more than in. It had a pink wristband, clearly snuck out of the incubator. Amanda was furious. She didn't even glance at the child. Chloe, we're sisters. Your child is my child. And my child is your child. Just take pity on your sister. I didn't have a boy this time. My mother-in-law will definitely make your brother-in-law divorce me. As she spoke, she reached for the baby in the cradle. I was horrified. I threw myself over the cradle, not letting them touch my baby. Don't even think about it. But I was just one person. My mom was pulling at me. Chloe, your sisters. What did mom teach you when you were little? Sisters should help each other. If you swap the babies, your sister can secure her position in her husband's family. And mom can free up her hands to help you with your babies. Twins are a handful. She spoke as if it was for my own good. But it came at the cost of separating me from my child. I looked at my mom in despair, as if seeing her for the first time. I finally stopped holding on to any expectations. Just as Amanda was about to take my baby, my husband finally returned, along with a nurse who was there to clean the room. They stared at the three of us, dumbfounded, as if looking at lunatics. In the struggle, we looked disheveled, clothes messy, hair all over the place. My husband immediately pulled me into his arms. Only then did he realize I was ice cold, shaking violently. His voice dropped. What happened? I didn't have a chance to speak. My mom took charge and shooed the nurse out. She seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, thinking my husband would be easier to talk to. She repeated to my husband what she had said to me. My husband repeated in disbelief. Mom swapped babies to raise? Amanda chimed in from the side. Yeah, my sister and I have always been close. Brother-in-law, don't worry. I'll definitely treat this child well. I felt my husband's grip on me tighten. He was clearly angry. This is absurd. Mom. Chloe and I will not agree. Don't ever bring this up again. Otherwise, don't blame us for cutting ties. with my intervention from the past life's knowledge. Although my husband didn't believe my dream, he was at least somewhat prepared. Chloe's unusual behavior recently. I originally thought it was postpartum depression making her imagine things. Now it seems such an outrageous thing could actually happen. We should keep our distance from now on. My husband was clearly more decisive. Faced with such an outrageous demand, he decided to just stay away from these two lunatics. Clearly, my mom and Amanda weren't listening. But since continuing to pester us now wouldn't get them anywhere, they had to give up for the time being. Just then, a nurse suddenly pushed open the door, exclaiming, "Isn't that the baby from incubator number so and so? This child is still under observation. How could you just take her out?" She said this as she took the baby and returned her to the incubator. "If this child doesn't make it back, you parents will regret it." It was, after all, her own flesh and blood. When Amanda heard this, she also followed the nurse. "Doctor, if my baby doesn't make it back, I'm going to file a complaint against you all." The hospital room finally quieted down. My husband patted my back again and again. "It's okay now. It's okay. Let's go home." The argument that day ultimately affected me. The babies were crying from hunger. I was anxious, but after trying for a long time, my milk wouldn't come in. I was frantic and red-eyed, feeling extremely guilty. My husband comforted me. "It's okay, honey. The babies will be just fine with formula." But it wasn't as nutritious as breast milk, after all. This life, I just wanted to give my children the best of everything. After drinking their formula, the babies smacked their lips in their cradles and fell fast asleep. But then there was a commotion outside the door. Then, our front door was pounded on violently. "Out. Chloe, I know you're in there." I jumped. Through the peephole, I saw an old woman with a fleshy, fierce face. I recognized her, Amanda's mother-in-law, Linda. Luckily, my husband was off work today and was home. As soon as he opened the door, Linda tried to barge in. My husband blocked her. She cursed, "You, Chloe. Where have you hidden my grandson?" My husband, his face grim, didn't let her in. "What grandson? You only have a granddaughter. Why aren't you looking for her at the hospital? What are you doing at my house? If you don't leave, I'm calling the cops for trespassing." But my husband's words didn't make Linda give up. She started scratching and clawing at him. How could this be fake? My daughter-in-law said it herself. She gave birth to a boy. During the delivery, you despicable couple swapped him. My grandson. If you don't hand over my grandson today, I'm telling you this isn't over. Linda, seeing she wasn't getting anywhere, slapped her thigh and sat down on the floor, throwing a tantrum. The babies were woken up by the noise. But luckily they were full, and were very good, just opening their big, round grape-like eyes, stretching out their arms, reaching for me, gurgling something. I calmed my breathing, telling myself not to get angry. Getting angry while breastfeeding could affect the milk. It would only harm myself. I also understood what was happening. Apparently, Amanda was afraid her mother-in-law would find out she'd had a baby girl and make her son divorce her. So she lied and said I had swapped the babies. Linda kept yelling for us to hand over the child. No matter what my husband said, she wouldn't leave. The neighbors who had gathered to watch had probably never seen such a melodramatic scene. They started chattering amongst themselves. "No way. We've lived here for so many years. Chloe and her husband are very honest people. How could they do something like this?" "Linda, what do you people know? You can know a person's face, but not their heart," someone else said. "Well, what proof do you have? You can't just come here with no evidence and throw a tantrum based on what your daughter-in-law said, right? That's ridiculous." Linda was getting frantic. "You're all in cahoots. What proof do you have that the child isn't mine? Get a DNA test then," someone in the crowd suggested. I listened quietly, very grateful to these neighbors for speaking up for us. "Thank you all for your kindness. I've already called the police." I came out, pushing the cradle, with my husband blocking her. Linda couldn't get past, no matter how crazy she acted. I can't just let any random person claim my child is theirs and then have to go get a DNA test, can I? "You're just feeling guilty. Hearing I'd called the police, Linda looked a little flustered. But when she saw me refuse the DNA test, she immediately seized on my words. If you weren't guilty, why wouldn't you dare to do a DNA test? I ignored her, whether she was right or wrong. We'll wait for the police to sort this out. Our three families gathered at the police station. Amanda, feeling guilty, didn't dare to speak. She nudged my mom with her elbow. So my mom stood up. Without looking at me once, she testified. The babies were indeed swapped. I was there for the birth, don't I know? My younger daughter here gave birth to 2 baby girls. I looked at my mom in disappointment. Even now, she was still protecting Amanda. Linda was triumphant. She shouted, "What did I tell you? You two are truly wicked. Stealing someone else's child. Have you no conscience?" My husband was enraged by their shamelessness. His hands by his sides clenched into fists. Luckily, I held him back. Otherwise, I was afraid we'd be the ones in the wrong. The officer taking the statement slammed his hand on the table. "All right. The DNA test results will be out soon." After giving our statements, we were separated into 2 waiting rooms. They were afraid we'd start arguing again, knowing that the DNA test had been done, and we were waiting for the results. My mom became restless. She even wanted to pull me aside to talk privately. I refused. After she chose to side with Amanda and help her try to take my child, there was nothing left for us to say. In the future, unless she became old and infirm, I didn't plan on taking care of her. The results came out. Amanda had indeed only given birth to a baby girl. Her mother-in-law's expression was beyond description. She slapped Amanda hard across the face. "Bitch, you've shamed us completely." My mom quickly went to protect Amanda. The scene became chaotic for a moment. I didn't have a habit of sticking around for drama. Once I got the signal that I could leave, I left the police station without hesitation. What awaited Linda was a charge of deliberately causing trouble. Amanda probably wouldn't have an easy time either. After this incident, I completely cut ties with my side of the family. Although my mom tried to visit me, she was always turned away at the door. She didn't understand how things had gotten to this point. She just wanted to treat everyone fairly. Her 2 daughters. Whoever was having a harder time, she would naturally favor that one more. The last time my mom came, she couldn't help but ask me. I was silent for a long while. I didn't even know how to communicate with her. I didn't care that she favored my sister. Since I was young, my grades were better. When my dad praised me, my mom would make sweet egg custard for my sister. There was none for me. Her explanation was, "You already have dad's praise. Your sister only has mom to dote on her." I would watch eagerly as Amanda ate the delicious sweet custard. I would have rather not been praised by dad. So maybe I could have had a share of the custard too. There were many other incidents like this. So many that I had become numb. I had gotten used to my mom's favoritism towards Amanda. I could ignore it, but my children were my bottom line. In my past life, when my mom decided to hide things from me, leading to my child's disability, I could no longer forgive her. This life, I gave her a chance. If only she had come to her senses, not helped Amanda try to swap my child, I wouldn't have been so heartless. After all, in this life my children were both healthy. I was willing to accumulate some good karma for them. Facing my mom's question, I didn't answer. I coldly closed the door. "Don't come looking for me anymore. If you need anything, go to Amanda. She's your real daughter. But don't worry. When you can no longer take care of yourself, I will fulfill my duties. Don't blame me for being so heartless. I really didn't want to have anything to do with her, or Amanda anymore, and leave any potential danger for my son and daughter. Under my careful nurturing, my babies grew up healthy and were lovable. My daughter was named Bella, and my son Andy. They were both my treasures. I only wished for them to grow up safe and healthy. As for Amanda, even if I didn't deliberately try to find out about her, I still heard quite a bit. After the police station incident, although her mother-in-law didn't make her son divorce her, Amanda's treatment at home plummeted. She was constantly pressured to have a second child, to definitely have a son to inherit the throne. In just a few short months, Amanda lost a lot of weight. Her daughter was also congenitally weak, hovering near death's door several times. She stumbled along and reached the age of 3 or 4. Amanda still hadn't successfully conceived a second child. For once, she had a smart idea. She secretly went to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor said it would be very difficult for her to get pregnant. Having a daughter was practically a 1 in 10,000 chance. It was already a miracle. Now she completely lost hope. She could only pin her hopes on her daughter. She forced the few-year-old child to recite poems and learn to read, trying to create a child prodigy image for her, to get a piece of the pie in this era of booming social media. But the daughter herself was always sick. She had no energy to begin with, being forced to expend so much mental and physical energy. It wasn't long before she was back in the ICU. The doctor issued a critical condition notice. We were sisters, after all. I went to the hospital to watch the show. Her only child might die. Only then did Amanda start to panic. She stayed by the child's side day and night without sleep, exhausting herself to the point of collapse. When I arrived at the hospital, Amanda was still on N4 drip. Her expression was wooden. When she saw me, her eyes flickered. Then, she started laughing inanely, like she had gone mad. "What are you doing here? Come to laugh at me?" Yes, I nodded from a distance. 3 or 4 years old should be the most innocent and carefree age for a child. Forced to study prematurely. I couldn't imagine what lay hidden beneath my nephew's child prodigy title in the past life. How much unknown bitterness there was. Moreover, after he became famous, Amanda went and had IVF, and had another son. She used the money her older son earned to move into the city, and then showered all her favoritism and love on the younger son. I just came to watch the show. I came to see my dear sister. How she ended up with such a sickly child. Life's funny, isn't it? I said word by word, returning the phrase she had used on me in our past life. Amanda muttered to herself, "Impossible. Impossible." She looked up, her eyes fixed on me. "You were clearly afraid of snakes that day. Didn't you say you saw them go into my room in your dream?" I looked directly at Amanda, maliciously enjoying her breakdown. I felt incredibly gratified. You see, I don't actually have to do much. Amanda can bring about her own ruin. I'm just waiting to see you reap what you sow. Yes, but the ones I dreamed of had feet, you know. I paused. As for the one that went into your room, it was probably almost dead from the snake repellent. Her eyes turned completely red. You bitch. Bitch. Perhaps she was too agitated. She rolled her eyes back, looking like she was about to faint. The next second, a group of doctors in white coats came out of the operating room. Perhaps seeing my calm expression, one asked, "Are you the patient's family?" I looked past the doctor's shoulder towards the operating room. It was dark inside. A strange intuition made me remain silent. I shook my head. I gestured towards Amanda, who was still raving and cursing. "I'm not." "She is." The doctor stared blankly for 2 seconds, his expression one of utter despair. But he still dutifully informed Amanda, "We regret to inform you that the patient couldn't be revived. Our condolences." Amanda screamed like she had completely lost her mind. I covered my ears. I saw her eyes roll back, and she fainted. The next time I saw her was at the child's funeral. Amanda was acting erratically, muttering to herself. It scared Bella so much she hid behind me, saying in her childish voice, "Mommy, Auntie looks so scary." Andy pulled his sister, patted his own chest. "Don't be scared, sis. Brother will protect you." He acted like a little adult. He raised his other hand, started recording with his kid's smartwatch. "Hey everyone. Today Mom and I, and my sister are at a little girl's funeral. We saw a very strange, Auntie. My sister is very scared. But I'm a big brother, and I'll protect my sister." I was speechless. Andy really did have some talent. Even though I wanted them to be like ordinary kids, just focusing on enjoying their childhood. One time I suddenly discovered Andy was using his kid's smartwatch to record his daily life, and had gained a large number of followers. He was subtly becoming a little internet celebrity. Amanda also saw Andy. She excitedly tried to lunge at him. I alertly had my husband take the children away. Amanda stared at me intently. It shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. I gave birth to sons. I'm very rich. I'm very rich. I had 2 sons. I took a step back. After a simple gesture of remembrance, I avoided contact with Amanda. While she was rambling incoherently, I knew Amanda had also been reborn, but she seemed to have gone mad, only remembering her superior life from the past, completely unable to accept her current downfall. I thought we were sisters after all. In her current state, she was also suffering at her in-laws. After the funeral, I decided to show some mercy. I'd send her to a mental hospital. The end.